What is up, guys, and welcome back to Across the Board, sponsored by MoneyBall Metrics. Today, you have myself, Alpha Dog Bets, here with Ben from We Beat the Spread. Ben, how are you today, brother?
Doing great today. It was a fun weekend. Some fun games, of course. The Vikings won. Not going into the recap. Don't worry.
I was about to yell at you. You knew I was going to
Not
do
going
it.
into the recap. Just the Vikings won, so it was a very good weekend. 1-0 again, and we're 1 win away from winning the NFC. So I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Excellent. Well, both our teams won. What a great weekend. Unfortunately,
are you happy about that? By the way?
no, am I happy about that? No, of course I'm not happy about that. Absolute disaster win by the New York Football Giants. Completely takes them out of the quarterback race. As of right now, the Giants have the 4th pick in the NFL draft, and I do believe Shador and Cam Ward are the only 2 realistic quarterback prospects in this class, and they will both be gone by pick 3. So when the Giants are picking on pick 4, they will both be off the clock. So a little disappointing for me, but Ben, it was a great weekend. The Vikings win had extra special meaning for you and I, as you know. That was the cluck bet of the week, so I'm excited that me and you do not have to cluck on Friday. We'll see the boys get on here and have to do their thing. But, Ben, let's recap how the weekend went. Yesterday, I was very happy with that winner in the Vikings game. That was my big win. Rest of the weekend was about 50-50. Not a great weekend, not a terrible weekend. Held about serve. How did you do?
Yeah, I had a rare 2 max play day for myself, and I hit both of them on Brandon Cooks, which I actually talked about on the show on Friday. Brandon Cooks over 35.5 receiving yards. He hit it in the first half, I think. He had a slow second half, but he hit that one quick. That was good. And then we had Vikings money line actually as the other 3-unit max play. I ended up upgrading that. I made like 7 units yesterday in NFL, so I was very happy with it. Good day for me overall.
I absolutely love to hear it. Well, you're hot. The people need your plays. You ready to dive into the slate, what we're going to be breaking down today?
Of course.
Ready? You made me very nervous. You weren't ready. Let's dive right into it, Ben. First game we're going to be breaking down today is going to be the college football game. Iowa taking on Missouri. Iowa coming in 8-4. Missouri coming in 9-3, ranked 19th in the nation. This is the Trans-Perfect Music City Bowl. Ben, what do you like in the Music City Bowl?
Yeah, for this one, I think I'm just going to have to go no play for me. I was kind of leaning Iowa, but it's just still that just tale as old as time of Iowa's offense that I don't think will be able to get it done. They are playing an SEC team. This is a tough matchup for them. I honestly think they're the better team on paper. It's just with their offensive struggles for so long and all that kind of stuff, the total's at 40.5. I think it's just a no play for me, but I would lean Iowa if I had to play something in this game.
So what Ben is saying is sometimes the best play for him is no play. He's going to be using that for this game. I'm going to be taking Iowa with the points, guys. Earlier, it was 2.5. Let me double check and make sure the line is still 2.5 because I was hoping to get it at a 3. I haven't officially locked it. I will take it at a 2.5 if need be. Yeah, it's going the other way. Take it at a 2.5. Earlier today, it looked like it was going to get up to a +3. Now it's going the other direction. It may get to a -2. So definitely take the 2.5 if you like Iowa. I definitely think they will compete in this game. Iowa's been a non-Iowa team this year. It feels like it's not the same team. I want to pull up here how Iowa has done on games to the over. I'm not recommending betting the over here, but just to put in some perspective, this Iowa team is not the Iowa team that we're used to. We're used to them playing low-scoring games never really going over. Iowa this year was the second best team in the nation at the over. They have covered at 75%. Sorry, it threw me off seeing Rutgers was on that list at the next spot, so I was a little confused there. But this isn't your normal Iowa team. They've been playing some good offense. They're able to put up some points, and I think they'll be able to contain this Missouri offense on the defensive side. Taking a look at Iowa's most recent games, they had a big win over Nebraska, 13-10. Game before that, they beat Maryland, 29-13. They had a big win over Wisconsin, where they ran them out of the building. On the other side, it's been a bit of a disappointing season for Missouri. I know that's hard to say, as they finished the year ranked 19th and 9-3. But they had bigger aspirations than playing in the Trans-Perfect Music City Bowl this year, and they were higher up in the rankings early in the year. So a bit of a disappointing ending to them. They do have a bunch of transfers as well. So Missouri has a lot more guys leaving than Iowa right now. We're going to be taking Iowa. It's definitely one of my favorite plays of the day. JD in the comments saying the total might be a smidge low. Let's pull up the betting splits on this one. Give me 1 second here, guys. Ben, I'm going to ask you to filibuster for a second, as you know what that is. But I'm going to pull up the betting splits here. So if you were to lean any total here, would you like the over because of how Iowa's performed this year, or potentially the under?
I know Iowa's been a little bit more of an over team this year, but it feels like in these bigger games, they tend to still just have great defense. So I'm going to have to lean the under here. I would lean under 40.5, but yeah, I still don't even love that. There's nothing in this game that's really caught my eye.
All right, I got it pulled up here on Action to kind of see what we have for the betting percentages in the split. So right now, which I love to see, we're seeing 71% of the money is on Missouri. I absolutely love that. We want to see the public all over Missouri. There's 10% sharp money coming in as well. So that means 61% of tickets are on Missouri, but 71% of the money. So there's higher dollar value bets on Missouri in this game than there is in Iowa. That's what that kind of tells you here. Taking a look at the total. The under has the sharp money by far. The under has the sharp money by far in this one. There is 75% of the bets are on the over with 85% of tickets. So bigger wagers are coming in on the under. I would stay away from it. I think the total may be a little low. I do lean the over here, but I would stay away from that under. I like the Iowa plus 2.5 angle on this the best. All right, Ben. Since you don't have a play on that one, I won't keep going back and forth with you on it. Let's keep it moving right along to the next set of games we're covering, which is going to be the NBA going over to the National Basketball Association. First game we're going to be breaking down is Cleveland Cavaliers coming into this game 27-4. They're 10-3 on the road, taking on a Warriors team that's 16-15 on the year, and they are 8-7 at home. Let's take a look at the injury report. Isaac Okoro and Luke Travers are out for the Cavs. On the other side, Brandon Pajemski is out for the Warriors. Moses Moody is a true game-time decision, and Gary Payton II is out as well. Ben, we saw these teams play earlier in the year. It was in Cleveland where the Cavs won by 20 points. What do you like in this game?
Yeah, I mean, Cleveland still just continues to dominate. They've lost 4 games all year. It seems like their losses are coming on the road, but even then, they've still been pretty dominant. They're on a 10-1 run. And then on the other side, you have the Warriors who just picked up Dennis Schroeder in a big trade, and it just hasn't come to fruition yet. I don't know if it's just moving around the new pieces, kind of getting them used to it. But I don't know. It seems like they just messed with their lineup, and now all of a sudden they're 2-4 with Dennis Schroeder playing. So, of course, you expect there's a little bit of time to get him involved in the offense, that kind of thing. But he just hasn't been playing lights out. And just we haven't seen from the Warriors what I think they expected to see from this trade, obviously, going 2-4 with him already. But they're struggling, man. They have 3 wins in December. That's it. So this is just the middle of a rut for them, and they're running into an absolute powerhouse. I'm going to go square in this game. I know the Cavs are going to be a popular play, but I got to continue to trust the Cavs in this spot. I cannot back the Warriors until they figure out what's going on with this new rotation with Dennis Schroeder in it, and the Cavs just continue to be so good. So I'm gonna just stay on the hot train with the Cavs.
Yeah, I mean, they're still the best cover team in the NBA as well. They're covering at 71%. They're the only team over 70%. And they're covering at a rate of 22-9 this season. So what I'm going to be doing in this game, Ben, is I'm going to be taking a money line parlay. This is going to be the first leg of my parlay. The game is in Cleveland, so I'm a little worried about the spread. I do think they do cover, but I'm a lot more comfortable taking the money line on the Cavs here. I am going to be parlaying them. I'll give out the other team here because we're not breaking down that game. With the Nuggets, the Nuggets are taking on the Jazz tonight. You guys can get that parlay at a plus 110. I love that it's at plus money. I think the Nuggets are going to have no issues getting by the Jazz, and I definitely like the Cavs to be able to get the win outright here. So the parlay for me is going to be a plus 110, and that's the Cavs on the money line, probably with the Nuggets on the money line. What do you think about that, Ben? You think both of those teams are good tonight?
Yeah, I do. I actually really like that. Typically in the NBA, you see these, like the Cavs, I do think they win, but 4.5. I know that we call it the National Blowout Association as a joke, but it seems like you get a lot of these close games. Like honestly, the Wolves last night, I had them in a parlay with the Commanders, and they ended up winning by 2 in a game I thought they should have won by a lot more. Like sometimes you just get these close games. So I actually like parlaying in the NBA a lot more when you parlay these favorites. So I actually really like that one.
Yeah, I usually like to do one a day. I know that people out there love parlays. I like to give everyone at least one per day. So I only like to play one per day, but this is going to be my official parlay of the day. I think these teams will be able to get it done, and I'm a lot more comfortable with the parlay than taking the Cavs straight up. I still, like I said, think the Cavs cash, but I do like that parlay, and I like getting it at plus money. Question in the comments from Diamond Dog. And by the way, what's up, Diamond Dog? We haven't seen you in like a week or so. Welcome back. We appreciate you here as always, brother. But Ben, what do we think about Jimmy Butler? I mean, I'll give my prediction quickly. I think he's gone. I don't think they're going to get the return they expect for a guy like him. He's an aging star, and I wouldn't put him as a superstar. I think Jimmy Butler's a very good player. Don't get me wrong. He's not a superstar. To me, there's only 5 to 10 superstars in the NBA, and Jimmy Butler's not one of them. Really hasn't been able to get it done since he's been in Miami. He's had a lot of chances. I know they haven't given him a lot to work with. He still has Bam Adebayo. He still has Tyler Hero. He has a couple guys out there. But I don't consider him a superstar, and I do think he will be moved. I don't think he at least for the regular season, is a huge needle mover. But I guess to the playoffs, we all know what playoff Jimmy can do. But is his game style in the playoffs conducive to winning a championship? It kind of turns into a little selfish ball, and they don't usually get it done and go all the way. So for me, I don't think it's a big loss for Miami. I think they'll be able to switch it around, but I also think Miami needs a rebuild. We could do a whole episode on what I think the Miami Heat need to do right now, but that's not what this is. On the trade, I do think Jimmy Butler will get moved. Ben, what do you think?
Yeah, I think you kind of have to at this point with how open that the team seems to be that he's had conversations with him that he kind of wants to be traded. What kind of presence does that give him in the locker room with the team that knows he kind of just was like, oh yeah, I kind of want out of here. It's like at this point, if you don't trade him, what are you looking at the rest of the season? Like, sure, they're professionals and everything and they could move on, but he has a history of this. Like he has a history of kind of, having issues in the locker room.
So this is his whole career.
Yeah, pretty much his whole career. So at this point, if you leave him on there for the rest of the season, you're kind of just like, you're just asking for more locker room troubles, in my opinion. You're going to have guys kind of calling him out for, wanting to leave and that kind of stuff. And I just don't think it sets a good precedent. Now, I still think he has value. I somewhat agree with what you're saying. He's an aging star, that kind of thing. He plays a little selfish in the playoffs.
He definitely has value. He has value.
But he definitely turns up in the playoffs. I think regular season Jimmy Butler and playoff Jimmy Butler are two different things. And at this point, if you're trading him to a team that needs a presence like his, a veteran presence like his, that has playoff experience and championship experience on your roster, because he still does bring a lot of value in the playoffs, I believe. But you're not wrong. He's definitely aging, and we've seen him we've seen playoff Jimmy at least start to decline a little bit in these last few years. So I think he'll get traded. It would be interesting to see where. I mean, Golden State just made that trade, but I know they were in talks for maybe getting Jimmy Butler. But they just traded for Schroeder. Like, are they going to trade even and mess even more stuff around? They could do Dallas, but they already have kind of I don't know if they really have a spot for them there. I think he might go to Phoenix.
Trivia. I have a trivia question for you.
Oh, do you?
I do. How old do you think Jimmy Butler is?
If I had to guess right now, 34.
1 year older. He's 35. He will be 36 by the start of next year's NBA season. I just don't think, unless you think you can go all the way this year. Like if you're a team, like you were bringing up Phoenix, if they think that this is their shot, they're going to go all in. You bring him in, but you're going for this year if you're bringing in Jimmy Butler. You're going all in this year. It's not going to be something that's going to be, a big future kind of contract where you're thinking you're going to have Jimmy for 4 or 5 years. You're going to build around him. He's going to be 36 next year. I think a team brings him in looking to be a contender that maybe has an injury. Maybe it's a team we don't even know yet because a player has yet to get injured. But if that's the case, I do think that would be the best option for a team bringing on Jimmy. But I do think he definitely will be moved. Let's keep it moving right along, Ben. Second game we're breaking down today is going to be the Mavs taking on the Kings. Mavs come into this game 20-12. They're 10-7 on the road, taking on a Kings team that, man, this Kings team's been pretty disappointing. 13-19 on the year, 6-12 at home, and they are coming in as a 3.5-point favorite against a Mavs team that's looked pretty good this year. Ben, a couple big injuries I think are reflective on why this line is the way it is. Luka Doncic obviously will be out. His estimated return isn't until February, so every time we break down the Mavs for the next month or so, you're going to hear us say Luka's probably going to be out. Najee Marshall's out. Derek Lively's a game-time decision, and Dante Exum is out as well. On the other side for the Kings, they have one game-time decision, and that's Jay Crowder. So the Kings, you guys know I like to look at the ESPN DPI just to give myself a little base on what they're predicting. And they have the Kings as a 58% favorite in this one. Ben, do you agree with that? And what are you taking in this game?
I do agree with it. I think the Kings win this game. They're on quite a tough run here of, I think it's 6 losses in a row now. But they've had some close games in those with some pretty good teams. And I just think at this point, you got to look at the Mavericks and say, all right, they have no Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving. He's expected to be a star now with him on the sideline. He's coming off a 46-point game on pretty good shooting. He shot 16 for 26 against the Portland Trailblazers on the road, and they lost. So you're saying you can have Kyrie play like that as the star without Luka, and then he puts up almost a 50 bomb, and they lose to Portland on the road. I just
yes, but I have a rebuttal to that. Not really a rebuttal, but another little factotum to add in on that for you, Ben. The Kings have lost 6 in a row. And let's look at the teams they've lost to. The Lakers 3 times, who are in shambles. Indiana, who is in shambles this season. And Detroit, the Pistons, who, do I really need to explain anything about the Detroit Pistons? They're the same exact team the last 5 to 10 years. You know what the Pistons are. They're getting better. They're getting better, but
they're a solid little young team.
Six games in a row they've lost, and they're home, and they're getting about a 4-point favorite. I mean, I think that's crazy.
I think it's crazy, but I think it's also telling because this Kings team, like coming into the season, and to be fair, before this little stretch, they're 13-13, which is I would put them a little above 500 at the end of the year. Like I think their expectations are kind of be expected to have a playoff shot, at least the play-in tournament. I think they'll be in the play-in tournament, whether 7th through 10th seed, somewhere around there. And I just don't think they're a 13-19 team. Yes, they're struggling, but they're healthy. I don't think they're going to continue this run of losses. I know it's been a rough stretch, but I think the Mavs are just in a worse spot, especially tonight without Luka. And Derek Lively, that's a big injury if he can't play. He's an amazing. He's actually my favorite player on the Mavericks. I don't like Luka because he doesn't play defense. Maybe their defense will actually play. Maybe the under is the play here because Luka's not.
You beat me to it. You beat me to it.
Anyway, yeah. So if anything, take the under. But I also think the Kings do win this game. To be honest with you, even with the 6-game streak.
I can't take the Kings this year, man. I feel like every time I take the Kings, I feel like I have a great read on them. I feel like it's a great spot. It's going to be a big Kings night. Then they lose by 50. So, I mean, the Kings have been a team this year that have done me dirty. I'm going to take the under in this spot. I do think this one will stay relatively low with all the injuries. It is a lower total for a Mavs-Kings game. Both teams do like to push the pace. But at 228.5, I definitely do lean the under here. It's not going to be a best bet or anything like that, but I definitely will be playing the under 228.5. Over to the comments. Hottie Toddy is here. Those are a few comments from the Jimmy Butler conversation. And this one I'm a little confused about. Quick thought on all these massive house robberies.
I think talking about the player house robberies while they are in games. I think that's what they're talking about.
What are our thoughts on it?
My thought is you're getting paid millions of dollars. Get better security.
Yeah,
you're literally getting paid millions of dollars. You can hire security. With
straight up. I don't have too many thoughts about the massive house robberies. I will say I do think that anything like that is a serious issue. They need to make sure the players are protected while they're not at home and their families are safe. So I'm all in favor of getting extra security and making sure these guys are safe. But that's the only comments I really could have on that topic. J-Bo, what is up, brother? A little late today, but you are here. We appreciate you tuning in. J-Bo, you're one of our top fans. You hear every episode. We appreciate you, brother. Ben, let's keep it moving. We're moving pretty fast today. It is a bit of a smaller slate, so we only do have one more game we're going to be breaking down today, but it's an interesting game, and I think people are going to be surprised about what we're on in this game, at least what I'm on in this game, and I can't even lie. I did look ahead and saw the best bets graphic, so I know what you're on in this game as well, so let's keep it moving and start breaking it down. We're getting into the Monday Night Football banger between the Detroit Lions and the San Francisco 49ers. Lions are coming in 3.5-point favorites. The total sitting at 50.5. Ben, tell everybody why you're on the 49ers.
I'm going to be honest. This is not me just saying I want the Lions to lose because no matter what happens in this game, and I don't care how crazy Dan Campbell is, I think that this has to be a point of contention for them. No matter what happens in this game, does not matter for next week's game against the Vikings. If the Lions lose this game and they win next week, they still win the NFC. They're still the number 1 seed and get the bye. It doesn't matter because they win the tiebreaker. So I already think that has to be in the back of my mind. After all the things that have happened all year with their injuries and people are starting to kind of, question whether they're being too aggressive with all their players and, like train regimen and all that kind of thing. I think in this game you have to take I'm not saying the Lions are going to go out there and lose tonight on purpose in any sense or form or fashion. Dan Campbell would literally never allow that to happen. However, I do think that the 49ers would love to play some spoiler. They're not going to make the playoffs. You have Isaac Brendo back, who's healthy, who, by the way, was very, very good in the backup role. 5.2 yards per carry this season on the ground. And you're facing a Lions defense that has so many injuries. You kind of almost forget how many they have because it's basically over half of their starters on defense.
Everyone who you know.
Yeah, and basically, Aiden Hutchinson, I know he's been out almost all year, but that's still a huge injury. The fact that he hasn't been able to come back season-ending injury. Then they have other guys in the secondary who have just made this defense to the point where you can just attack them on the ground and through the air. It just feels like they're so injured everywhere. And at this point in the season, with all these injuries that are starting to stack up for them, it's like, what is there going to be their real approach to this game, and how aggressive are they going to be late into the game? Like, first half, sure, but it's like, if they go hard in this game, which is technically kind of meaningless to next week, And if you go into this game and get more injuries, what are they going to be sitting at for the playoffs? They're going to have no one left. So I do think that the 49ers are going to have some fight in this game. You have Debo, who was playing way better last game after getting a ton of scrutiny. He had like 5 slow weeks in a row. Debo started heating up. If Grendo back, Pearsall's been playing better. I think the 49ers have some fight in this game, and I think they cover.
Yeah, I mean, Ben, you put it perfectly, and I wish I didn't let you go first, but you put it absolutely perfectly. As the Vikings fan, I was hoping you were going to bring that up, that this game has no playoff implications at all. This game has nothing. If the Lions win this game, they still have to win next week. If they lose this game, they still have to win next week. Next week's game versus the Vikings for the Lions is a winner takes all for the division, and the loser is the wild card. So the seeding doesn't matter either. There is literally nothing on the playoff implications in this game. This game is meaningless. For that reason, I'm all over the 49ers. The Lions are not going to want to get anyone injured. I love Jahmyr Gibbs under rushing attempts. I love under passing yards on Jared Goff. I think this is going to be a very, very, what's the right word I'm looking for? The Lions aren't going to be fully in it. This is the definition of a look-ahead game. There is zero repercussions if they lose this game. This game means nothing to them. The 49ers and Brock Purdy, he's trying to get a new contract. A lot of guys on the team are battling for new teams maybe next year or for their own spot with the 49ers next year. These guys are going to give it their all. The 49ers are going to come out like a bat out of hell. And I think they may even win this game outright. I'm all over the 49ers, plus the 3.5. And I don't think this one's going to be exactly a competitive game. I don't think, if you're a Lions fan or if you're on the Lions coaching staff or anything affiliated with the Lions, the main goal of tonight, there's one goal. And that's all you need to do is get to next week healthy. That's it. This game has no meaning. So for me, 49ers all the way. And Ben, let's talk about any props here. Any props that we like in this one?
Yes, I love Ricky Pearsall in this game. Obviously great story coming in. And then last week he had 37 yards. Tonight, he's actually sitting at a measly 20.5. And I know that's because he had some really slow weeks in kind of the middle of the season. He came out firing. His first 3 games this season, he hit this line. And then he went under in like 5 in a row. Last week, he looked good again. I think it's bringing back the run game. I think Brock Purdy's been struggling without that run game, obviously, as most teams would. When you don't have a running back, teams are just going to absolutely eat you up in the secondary. So the fact that Grando's coming back, I actually think teams do respect him. I think the Lions will respect him. And the fact that the Lions are kind of more of a pass funnel offense. Teams don't actually run the ball that much against them. Usually that's because they're losing the game and they're in a passing game script. But either way, especially coming into the season with a healthy Lions secondary, they were already projected to be a bottom half secondary. And then they got injuries to a lot of their star guys that they did have in the secondary. And now you have an even more pass funnel defense that I think you can attack. So Ricky Pearsall, I think, has an excellent opportunity in this game against zone coverage because he loves zone coverage, and the Lions literally played at the highest rate in the league. And you're asking for only 20.5 yards. This reminds me a lot of the Brandon Cooks line from yesterday that was at 34.5 yards, and it just felt way too low. This feels way too low. I think he's going to get, honestly, I would ladder it up to 40 plus. I actually don't know the odds, and then I'll look really quick while I'm also still talking. But Pearsall is definitely my favorite receiver tonight to get over 20.5 yards.
I like it. I'm on Pearsall, too, to score a touchdown. I have a couple more things I want to address in the comments and a couple more things we're going to talk about. Have they locked up home field? It does not matter because whoever wins the division next week has the chance will get the home field advantage. They hold the tiebreaker, so it doesn't matter. This game literally means nothing. Like, this game is the epitome of the only thing you have to do if you're the Lions, a fan in the organization, get the hell out of this game healthy so you can play next week. We all know how injured they've been. I know that it's Dan Campbell. He's going to have those guys fired up. But internally, the players and the team, they understand what's at stake next week. This game is not going to be one that they're going to be giving 800% and maybe extending plays, giving everything they can to get down the field. They're not going to want to risk the injuries tonight. It just doesn't make any sense. One more question we have here from Hottie Toddy. Do we think the 49ers signed Brock Purdy? Hottie Toddy, let me tell you, ask this question tomorrow. We will have Hefe Picks back on the show tomorrow. And he has the craziest story of who he thinks will be the quarterback of the 49ers. It is not Brock Purdy, so I'll leave you guys in the cliffhanger for tomorrow. Make sure you were here. He's got a wild theory, and I kind of like what he has to talk about. I personally think Purdy's going to be back. I don't think you let a guy like Purdy leave, but the numbers have to be right. I think he needs to have maybe a Daniel Jones type contract, like a 4-160. I think if it's going to be anything higher than 200, that's difficult. I think Shanahan's system is a very system-dependent quarterback, and you can really get guys to fill that role. But I do think he will eventually return to San Francisco. I do think it is a pretty good match between the two parties. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, I agree with basically everything you said there. I think you put it perfect. I don't think there's anything I can add to it. What I can add to it is that while you were talking about that, I was looking at another prop that reminded me of that Packers backup running back Brooks plus 600 last week. We hit that. I got another one, and it's another backup.
All right.
And I loved what you said about Jahmyr Gibbs under rushing attempts. I agree with that.
Oh, you're taking Vakiaki, aren't you?
No, I'm taking Craig Reynolds. He had 4 carries last week. There's no David Montgomery. Gibbs, you can't give him 20. If they give Gibbs 20-plus carries in this game, seriously, Dan Campbell should be fired.
Fired.
I'm serious at this point. Like, I get he's a great coach, but at a certain point, dude, you can't be so insane that you're like, we're never going to lose. We're going to rush these guys every time. Like, dude, at a certain point, you just have to be smart. This game means nothing. So I think Craig Reynolds is going to see some action in this game. He had 4 carries last week, and he had a reception as well. So he's plus 600 to score a touchdown. He doesn't have one this year.
I
think this could be the game that he does it. In a meaningless game, it's one of the first meaningless games that the Lions have played all season. So why not use him, especially without David Montgomery?
Bro, I got so fucked last night. I don't curse on the show frequently, but you saw I had the 2-touchdown parlay cooked up with Omalad Zacchaeus as well as Bijan Robinson. I think it was $7.50 to win $1,500. Zacchaeus got called back on a holding for a second touchdown. Let's cook up a 2-touchdown parlay for the boys tonight. Same game, 2-touchdown parlay. I do these all the time, so let's cook up what I'm going with tonight. I'm definitely taking George Kittle. I think George Kittle's going to have a monster performance for this 49ers team. So the first leg of my 2-touchdown parlay is going to be George Kittle. So that's at a plus 1,100, that leg. So I like to look at another leg, a potential guy on the Detroit side that's going to be able to get us there. One guy I think we're going to see a little bit extra of tonight is Jameson Williams. So I'm going to be taking him for 2 touchdowns as well. That parlay comes to a basically plus 12,000. It's plus 11,713. So $10 on that parlay, guys, pays about $1,200. That's going to be the 2-touchdown parlay I'm going with tonight. Like I said, I do think George Kittle has a big game. He should be open all game long against this Detroit defense. And then on the other side, I do think at least early, they will take a couple shots deep, and the deep shot guy is going to be Jameson Williams. I don't think we see a ton of Amon-Ra St. Brown. No need to get him hurt. I don't think we see a ton of Sam Laporta because the backup tight end situation in Detroit is not great. I don't think we see a lot of Gibbs. So the next best option to me is going to be Jameson Williams. I don't hate Tim Patrick tonight. I don't hate Tim Patrick at plus 3,000. I like some of these backup guys in this type of situation. So that's exactly why I'm playing it. But the official 2-touchdown parlay is George Kittle 2 and Jameson Williams 2. $10 pays $1,200. Joe, why? Why? You didn't even come and say hi today? You're here every day. You want to come and immediately make me feel upset? I'm wearing a Giants hat with pride. We got a W. The Giants are back. And somehow I'm telling you right now, Ben, I hate it, but the New York Football Giants will have Sam Darnold as their quarterback next year. I think that's what's going to happen.
Who?
That's my new theory. Sam Darnold. Sammy Darnold. I think he's going to
lead the Giants quarterback?
Yeah, I don't know if I love it. I don't know.
No. The Vikings are re-signing Sam Darnold.
I don't know. I really don't know. You guys drafted JJ so high. You're going to trade JJ?
Listen. That brings up a great point that I've been thinking about lately that is so dumb in the modern, and I mean the last few years NFL. What the hell is with all this pressure on first-round picks being expected to be unreal. Starting NFL quarterbacks right away now? Like, that didn't used to happen. You didn't just used to draft a guy and be like, all right, go out there. Like, you used to sit. Tom Brady sat. Aaron Rodgers sat. Like, the greatest quarterbacks we know from our generation,
absolutely,
some of them still playing, they all sat at least for a year or two. I think Tom Brady was 2. I think Aaron Rodgers was 2. So, I mean, like, what is
what?
Pressure?
What? Years?
Yeah.
I think he sat for 4. I could be wrong. I thought Rodgers sat a lot
I honestly can't remember. But what is it with now all these first-round picks expected to be NFL starting quarterbacks right away out of the gate, and there's pressure on them? Like, all right, we're drafting you, and we expect you to turn our entire franchise around in your first season with us, by the way. Like, people are talking about J.J. McCarthy, like, we just want to get him out there as quick as we can. What's the rush?
Okay, well, here's
14-2. What's the rush? I don't get it. Everyone's talking about J.J. McCarthy. You re-signed Darnold. He's looked so good. I don't get it. I don't get it.
How many years minimum do you give Darnold?
I
5? He's 27, bro. In his prime. He's not going to take a 2-3 year deal. So if you go to Darnold, the JJ era's done. Because Darnold's 27, JJ's 23? That's a 4-year difference. You're not going to have him sit and wait behind Darnold. If you found your franchise guy in Darnold, you're going to pay him as your franchise guy. But I think the GM drafted JJ. They believe in JJ. Before he got hurt, they were all about JJ. So I do think he is going to get a shot in Minnesota. You're going to have to commit over $200 million to get Sam Darnold. I believe it's going to be a 5-year $200. It's just, he's earned that. There's no other way to put it. He's earned that. He was a high draft pick for a reason. He has the talent. He's one of the better talents in the NFL. He can make those crazy throws. But if you think for 1 minute, the GM of the Vikings is going to say, maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I should have used a high first-round pick on another position. They don't tend to do that. They don't tend to admit that they do that. The only time we've seen that in recent memory has to be with the 49ers and Brock Purdy with Trey Lance. That's the one I could think of off the top of my head where they really quickly got out of a top 5 pick and moved on to another quarterback and committed to him. So I don't know if I'm going to see that. Joe, I agree with you. I don't really want Shedeur. I wanted the Giants to get Cam Ward. Maybe that happens. Who knows? But, Ben, we still have a couple things we have to do on this show. Any other props? My ghost is here. Can you wait, Pat McAfee? Any other props you want to get into before we do best bets?
No, I like that Craig Reynolds touchdown plus 600, and I like Pearsall over 20.5 receiving yards a lot. That's one for each team. Throw them in a parlay.
I like it. So there's a couple things we have to do in the show before we get into best bets. Y'all know what we do on this show. Big New Year's sale from MoneyBall Metrics. Get into the Discord. You get 3 months of access for just $60. Best deal out there. Come win with the best community in the world, and let's keep cashing together with MoneyBall Metrics. All right, Ben. One more thing we're doing. You know what it is. I don't even need to know it. The viewers know what it is. I don't need to explain it. It's our best bets. So guys, it's just Ben. Oh, sorry. Just read an alert that Gibbs potentially is not going to play tonight. A lot of news to come out in this Lions game.
Way, actually?
He might not play. They may hold him out. I think
that's
the best move.
Go take Craig Reynolds' touchdown literally as quick as you can. Plus 600.
Now, because they may end up not playing Gibbs. Doesn't make any sense to play him. But Ben, what are your best bets? Let me see.
It's not, but
it's not. It's still up. But I just received a text from somebody very reliable that did say they do believe that they're hearing that Gibbs is not going to go. So who knows? Not confirmed, but
600.
There we go. All right, Ben, best bets. What you got?
All right, I got 3 for you guys. We're starting off with the 49ers. I think they keep it close, especially if that report is right. Everything Alpha and I talked about is absolutely true. The Lions are viewing this as a pure look-ahead game. It's a bye week.
They should.
It's a bye week as far as they're concerned. So give me the 49ers. They're playing at home. Is this their last home game, or are they at home next week too? Either way, they're playing at home. They still probably want to play spoiler because they know they can beat a really good team in the Lions and get a little bit of positivity at the end of the season. 49ers plus 3.5. Ricky Pearsall over 20.5 receiving yards. He eats against zone coverage. This line is very low for him. Line he can easily hit on 1 or 2 catches. And then the Cavs in the NBA, -4, -4.5. I like both of those lines. I do think that they get a pretty good win here. The Warriors are still trying to figure out how to work in Dennis Schroeder, and the Cavs are wagging. So give me the Cavs.
I like that. I like your reasoning for that. I'm going to be on the 49ers plus 3.5 as my play of the day. I don't need to go in why. You guys know exactly why I feel that way. And we're taking Iowa plus 2.5. So the 2 football games are going to be my 2 plays of the day. I'm putting up the best bet sheets. Take out your phones. Take your screenshots. Shout out again to the producer because the background looks sick. Snowy winter theme. I love it in the spirit. Let's go. And guys, we're going to cash these bets today. Ben, any parting words for the people before we get the hell out of here?
Well, since JD isn't here, someone's got to say it. Let's fucking win.
Let's fucking win. Edgar, I see you in the comments saying Cavs money line to 49ers. Rewind. You can see all our plays. We'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place. Ben, yet again, shout out JD. Let's fucking win. I'll see y'all later. Peace, everybody.